draft copy.
Oh, dude.
Government Operations Committee for March 15th will come to order, please. Do we have any personal orders? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll. I'm sorry, did you have personal order? You're recognized, Chairman Littleton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think Leader Lambert's daughter is in the back room here. They're dressed alike today. See her waving. Stand up, hon. Let's welcome her. I can't remember her name. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I didn't see anybody stand up. Where are they? Oh. Do we have other personal orders? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Representatives Byrd, Calfee, Cochran, Crawford, Dixie, Basin, Johnson, Lafferty, Lamar, Littleton, Rudder, Stewart, Warner, Vice Chairman Reedy, Chairman Reagan.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Members, today we have several bills in front of us. The first on your agenda is House Bill 61 by Representative Darby. Representative Darby.
Motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second. You're recognized on your bill, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an admin bill that rewrites the reinforcement sections of the food.
Before you go too much further, there is an amendment on your bill.
Yes, sir.
Members, this amendment is from the chair, so I will pass the gavel to Vice Chair Reedy. The amendment number is 004850.
Chairman Reagan, you are recognized on Amendment 4850, sir.
I believe I heard a motion.
We've got a motion and a second.
This is a simple amendment. It's for the purpose of clarity. It changes the word regulation to rule. I move adoption of the amendment.
From the committee members, any questions on the amendment? Questions being called. All in favor of adding Amendment 4850 to House Bill 61 signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposition? No. The amendment goes on. Mr. Chairman, back to you.
Thank you, members. You've heard that amendment. It was simple, and now we'll recognize the sponsor for explanation of his bill as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an admin bill that rewrites the enforcement sections of the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act passed in 1941 by deleting antiquated language and updated provisions to reflect current practices. This bill also deletes the repealer section of the Produce Safety Act. Otherwise, it will end July the 1st, 2021.
Members, do you have questions of the sponsor?
Question on the bill.
Just a second. Would you withdraw that just a second here?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Sponsor, do you have anyone to testify?
I've got some people here if there was some question. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I've got some people here just in case there was any questions I couldn't answer.
Okay, I don't think there was any questions. I'm sorry. Please, your motion again, sir.
Question on the bill.
Question's been called. Is there any objection? Seeing none, we are voting on sending House Bill 0061 to Calendar and Rules. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Bill passes out to Calendar and Rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee.
Next on the agenda is House Bill 0742 by Leader Lamberth. We have a motion and a second. Leader Lamberth, you're recognized for an explanation of your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There should be an amendment that makes the bill that's traveling with the bill.
That is, my document indicates it's traveling with the bill.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this began as a bill that would have banned fulfillment centers. Those are unlicensed entities that handle shipments of wine. We amended that in the committee process due to the input that we got from several both wineries and businesses and fulfillment centers. And now all that does is just bring them into the fold. They're licensed and regulated just like any other really distributor, but at a lower level than that. So they'll be able to continue with their fulfillment center duties, what they've been doing for wineries. But again, it will be within the regulation and supervision of ABC, just like the other entities are.
Question has been called. We have no speakers on our list. So members, we are voting on sending House Bill 0742 to Finance, Ways and Means. All in favor say aye. All opposed, no. Bill moves out to Finance, Ways and Means. Thank you, Leader Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I may, just a moment of personal privilege. Thank
You're
you all.
recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Not only do I have my little girl Allison with me today, but I would like to recognize my criminal court judge, D. David Gay. I believe he'll be testifying later. He's a very dear friend of mine. So if y'all can make him feel welcome, Judge Gay.
You're recognized.
I just wanted to ask, is this your first bill? I'm just kidding.
Moving on. Item number 3 on the counter. Leader Lambert, I believe you're up for that one as well, although I believe it's being run by someone else. Chairman Vaughn, you're recognized on House Bill 0764. We have a motion and a second on the bill.
I think it's Hicks.
I'm sorry. It was Hicks. My apologies. Representative Hicks, you are recognized on the bill. We have a motion and a second on that one. Leader Hicks, I believe that,
Is there an amendment on the bill?
let's see, wait a minute. Not this one. Yeah, there is. I'm sorry. Yes, there is an amendment on this one. I'm sorry. And as before, the chair is carrying the amendment, so I'll pass the gavel to Chairman Reedy.
Chairman Reagan, you are recognized on Amendment 4852. We have a motion and a second. Please continue, sir.
Thank you. This amendment is simple. It changes the language to a requirement that the commission meet at least twice a year and strive to meet quarterly. The original language is just strive to meet quarterly. This also changes the word issue and prescribe to promulgate in order to clarify and align with rulemaking processes. I stand ready to answer questions if there are any.
Any questions from the committee members on this amendment? Seeing none, are you ready to vote? All those in favor of adding Amendment 4852 to House Bill 764 signify by saying aye. Aye. These opposition, nay. Amendment goes on to House Bill 764. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Now, Mr. Sponsor, you are recognized for explanation of your bill as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee. This is from the Department of Agriculture. It's a soil conservation bill. The original soil conservation statute in Tennessee was enacted in 1939 and has been seldom amended. This bill changes the name of the State Soil Conservation Committee to the Tennessee Soil and Water Conservation Commission, and the name change of each soil conservation district to the Soil and Water Conservation District. These name changes reflect the focus on soil erosion reduction and the preservation and improvement of state water resources. This bill is just modernized, and it modernizes the appointments of the commission members and the elections of the district supervisors. This bill just simply takes Soil Conservation Act and brings it up to today's standards. And this bill does not change the current committees or districts. It is simply renaming and revising and does not create state committee. It does not create a new state committee and districts. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Calvi, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a good bill. I served on the Roane County Soil Conservation Board for several years. And of course, the prime purpose of conserving soil is to keep it out of the streams. And I tell you, if you drive by the city park in Kingston right now, there's a huge island there. And I've been boating around there since 1970, and that island wasn't there. Our lakes are filling up with sediment. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Chairman Reedy, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Hicks, you may have already covered it, but I'm going to ask this question just to maybe reconfirm. Is it your intention that this legislation will not require the current soil conservation districts to be reconstituted?
You recognize sponsor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It does not do that, no.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Other questions of the sponsor? The question's been called. Any objection? Seeing none, we are voting on sending House Bill 764 to calendar and rules. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Bill moves out to calendar and rules.
Thank you,
Mr.
Chairman.
Sponsor.
Thank you, committee.
Next on our agenda is House Bill 768. Representative Littleton, you recognized.
Motion.
We have a motion and a second.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 768 makes significant revisions to the Child Care Quality Rating Improvement System, the mechanisms for conducting quality assessment of child care providers, the Child Care Report Card System, and the Child Care Rated Licensing Systems. The new assessment system will replace the current outdated report card system. DHS has developed an assessment tool to weave the quality and assessment indicators into the licensing rules so that it is a seamless system for parents and providers to navigate. With the annual assessment will no longer be being conducted solely once a year, an annual license renewal component is eliminating the annual renewal component of the current licensing structure will support the new approach to qualify rating, which includes continuous and regular engagement and communication with providers. While not unusual for licensing structures, the annual renewal component of DHS child care licensing is not necessary given the oncoming relationship and monitoring activities completed by DHS.
Members, you've heard an explanation of the bill. Do you have questions of the sponsor? Seeing none, we're voting on sending House Bill 768 to Finance, Ways and Means. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. House Bill 768 moves to Finance, Ways and Means.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Committee.
Next on our agenda is House Bill 781. We have a motion. We have a motion and a second. And sponsor, you're recognized to explain your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe we've got some names on a list, but they're strictly for question answering. Should any come up that we can't answer. This proposed legislation merges the Private Investigators and Polygraph Commission and the Alarm Systems Contractors Board into one combined program that will be under the authority of the Commissioner of Commerce and Insurance. It's a consolidation, money-saving efficiency measure proposed by the administration.
Chairman Reedy, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Chairman Bond, this is a good bill. Thank you for bringing it.
Thank you, sir.
Chairman Calfee, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Does this have anything to do with bucking bulls? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Question on the bill.
Before I recognize that, sir, I will remind committee members that this committee has long viewed efficiencies in combining or eliminating boards that are no longer fully functional as a good thing. This bill obviously is doing that. I will now recognize the call of the question. Any objection? Seeing none, we are voting on sending House Bill 781 to Finance, Ways and Means. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Bill moves out to Finance, Ways and Means. Next on our agenda is House Bill 598 by Chairman Hazelwood.
Motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. Chairman Hazelwood, you're recognized for explanation of your bill. By the way, I'm showing an amendment traveling with your bill. The amendment I'm showing traveling with your bill is 003767. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, as before, the chair has an amendment for this. Chairman Reedy, you're recognized.
Chairman Reagan, you are recognized on Amendment 4853, sir. We've got a motion.
And this amendment is a
And a
single
second.
word change from gender to sex in subdivision D3 of section 1 of the bill. That's it in its entirety. I stand ready to answer questions.
Any questions on the amendment? Saying none, all those in favor of adding Amendment 4853 to House Bill 598 signify by saying aye. Any opposition? No. Amendment goes on. Chairman Reagan.
Thank you. And Chairman Hazelwood, you are recognized for explanation. The question has been called. Do we have any objection? Seeing none, we are voting on sending House Bill 598 to Finance, Ways and Means. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Bill moves out to Finance, Ways and Means.
Thank you, Mr.
Hazelwood.
Chairman and committee.
Next on the agenda is House Bill 120 by Chairman Whitson. Does the chair hear a motion? Motion. We have a motion and a second. Chairman Whitson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee.
The chair is showing you with an amendment that's traveling with a bill. That amendment is 001593. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mr.
All right, you're
Chairman.
recognized on your bill as amended, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 120 requires any person with a license as a cosmetologist, manicurist, esthetician, easy for me to say, natural hairstylist or barber to successfully complete a free course on domestic violence awareness education as prescribed by the State Board of Cosmetology and Barber Examiners one time in their career. This course will train these professionals to recognize potential domestic violence and how to share resources with clients they believe are in need. Nearly half of all crimes in Tennessee are domestic violence related. And Tennessee ranks 9th in the nation for the rate that men kill women. I've served as foreman as a Williamson County grand jury for years, and I quickly discovered domestic violence does not discriminate and impacts individuals regardless of race, economic status, age, or education level. Most victims of domestic violence will not report their abuse to law enforcement, but they are more likely to tell someone they trust or whom they have a long-standing relationship. Salon professionals see their clients on a regular and routine basis, even during this pandemic. Salon professionals who typically create special relationships with their clients and hear about their personal lives are in an ideal and unique position to identify physical signs of abuse like bruises, cuts, or changes in everyday behavior. This bill does not make salon professionals mandatory reporters and does not hold them civil or criminally liable for acting in good faith or failing to act on information learned from their clients. This bill has a 4-year implementation window for current license holders. In closing, I want to thank the YWCA Nashville and Middle Tennessee, Michelle Mallory Johnson, and her incredible team for working so hard to bring this legislation forward, but also Suzanne Post for having the courage to speak out and take actions to support and protect every victim of domestic violence in Tennessee. Their work clearly demonstrates the power of citizens in our state to make a difference. With that, Mr. Chairman, I renew my motion.
The question has been called. Is there any objection? Seeing none, we are voting on sending House Bill 120 to Calendar and Rules. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Bill moves out to Calendar and Rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, committee.
Next on our agenda is House Bill 183 by Chairman Ramsey. Do I hear a motion? And a second? We have a motion and a second. Chairman Ramsey, I believe your bill is traveling with an amendment. I show amendment 003697. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And I also show a second amendment, 004179. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, both of those are traveling with the committee. We need no action on those. You are recognized for explanation of your bill, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. This bill essentially addresses one specific title, licensed professional art therapist, and initiates the program to license those in the state of Tennessee. What this bill will do is increase the affordable quality mental health care providers that we have with a positive fiscal note. It will do so while generating some revenue for the state. At present, this will fit into the programs that already are in the expectation of expansion. MTSU is starting a graduate program of art therapy due to student interest that's supposedly going to begin in fall of 2021. There are already 7 schools of higher education that have undergraduate programs. It will also fit into the veterans program that we have in Clarksville that Second Lady Karen Pence had adopted back in 2017 and promoted for art therapy to deal with PTSD in our veterans. What this bill will not do is stop anybody from using art personally or professionally It will not add a new regulatory board. The regulatory board is an advisory board that's within the Board of Psychology, which they agreed to accept into that board. It will not cost the state any money, and it will not in any way determine the definition of art. So with that, pending further questions, Mr. Chairman, I would renew my motion.
Members, you've heard the explanation of the bill. Do we have questions? The question has been called. Is there any objection? Seeing none, we are voting on sending House Bill 183 to Finance, Ways and Means. All in favor say aye. All opposed nay. You wish to be recorded as no, see the clerk. Bill, ayes have it. Bill moves out to Finance, Ways and Means.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
For the remainder of the calendar, there are bills that I'm carrying, so I will pass the gavel to the Vice Chair. You're recognized, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, is item number 9 on your calendar, House Bill 302, Board of Judicial Conduct. Chairman Reagan, you are recognized on House Bill 302. We do have a motion and a second.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. This bill essentially. Thank you, Mr. Chair. This bill essentially extends the Board of Judicial Conduct to June of 2025 and requires the board to appear before Government Operations Joint Committee on Judiciary and Government no later than December 31st, 2021 to provide the committee with an update on board-related activities. With that explanation, I stand ready to answer questions.
The question has been called on the bill. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of sending House Bill 302 to calendar and rules signify by saying aye. Those opposed, nay. Bill moves forward to calendar and rules. Chairman Reagan. Next on the calendar, item number 10, House Bill 298, the Statewide Community Service Agency. Chairman Reagan, you are recognized on House Bill 298.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. This, as introduced, this bill extends the Statewide Community Services Agency to June 30, 2023. By way of explanation, for those of you that may be wondering why this didn't wind up on the consent calendars, at my discretion, any questions that were raised in subcommittees or other areas when this bill was proposed originally, I bumped it off consent and put it on a regular calendar. If there's anybody has questions, I stand ready to answer them.
Members, I do need a motion and a second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the bill? Seeing none, all those in favor of sending House Bill 298 to calendar and rules signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? No. Bill passes on to calendar and rules. Chairman Reagan. Item number 11, House Bill 297, State Textbook and Instructional Materials Quality Commission. Chairman Reagan, you are recognized on House Bill 297. We have a motion and a second. Chairman Reagan.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Reedy. As introduced, this extends the State Textbook and Instructional Materials Quality Commission to June 30, 2023, and requires the commission to report back to Government Operations Committee no later than December 31st, 2021, to update the committee on its progress in addressing the committee's concerns about the commission's answers to questions that were submitted to it by the Division of Audit. With that explanation, I stand ready to answer questions.
Any questions from the membership? Seeing question has been called. Representative Johnson, please.
Your mic's not on.
Check your mic again, please.
Wait, I'm sorry. That mic apparently is not working.
That's why there wasn't a chair here. Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Okay. With the committee, we have several members who have not been voted on yet. What is the time between appointment and being voted on?
Chairman Reagan.
Mr. Chair, we have members of the administration here. They're ready to answer that question. If possible, I'd make a motion to go out of session for.
So at this time, we will go out of session. Mr. Klein, if you would come forward. Please check the light on the microphone and introduce yourselves for the record, please.
Jay Klein, Director of Legislative Affairs for the Tennessee Department of Education.
Mr. Klein, can you answer that question or do we need it repeated?
Representative, would you mind repeating the question? I think I heard part of it, but.
Sure, because we talked on the phone about the time limit between an appointment and when they have to be voted on? Because I think you said there were like 6 maybe members who had not been voted on yet.
Mr. Klein, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, Representative, as we discussed, there have been several members who've been appointed to the commission. The way that the statute is set up around the appointment of commission members, if appointments are made, the requirement is that there is a 90-day window once the General Assembly comes back into legislative session for them to be confirmed and for them to proceed operating as kind of full commission members. But the statute does allow for the commission members, once they're appointed, to function in their roles up until that 90-day mark. Does that help answer your question, Representative?
Sure. So I guess the bigger question is, will all of those be voted on during this session?
Mr. Klein.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative, that question would probably be a little bit beyond our role at the department and the support functions that we provide. I do believe I've seen several of those resolutions filed in the legislative information system, but of course that would be up to the chairman of the respective committee. I believe those items are in the instruction subcommittee or the instruction full committee, and so that would be up to the chairman and then the sponsor of those resolutions to ensure that they are heard and move through the process.
Great, thanks.
Representative Johnson, any further questions? Seeing none. Thank you, Mr. Klein. So at this time, we'll go back into session. Any further discussion on the bill for the chairman? Seeing none. All those in favor of sending House Bill 297 to calendar and rules signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those that oppose, nay. Bill moves on to calendar and rules. Chairman Reagan, the gavel is yours, sir.
I need one more.
Representative Reedy, turn the page. All right. Item number 12 on the calendar, House Bill 296, State TennCare Pharmacy Advisory Committee. Chairman Reagan, you are recognized. We have a motion and a second. Chairman
We have a
Reagan.
motion and a second. Thank you, sir. The bill before you, 296, extends the State TennCare Pharmacy Advisory Committee to 2027. And again, this is on our calendar instead of the consent calendar because there was a question that was asked. It was answered correctly and innocuously in the subcommittee, but because it was asked, I brought it forward as something other than a consent calendar.
Any questions for Chairman Reagan? Question has been called. We do have a motion and a second. All those in favor of sending House Bill 296 to calendar and rules signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Nay. Bill moves on to calendar and rules. And at this time, Chairman Reagan, the meeting is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Members, of course, we're meeting next Monday, but a reminder that the Rule Review Committee will be on 29 March. So please make sure that you're available for that. Is there any other business to come before the committee? Seeing none, without objection, we are adjourned.